beautiful evening to you and welcome to Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Emmanuel Mike and I'm very happy to be here to bring you all the electrifying stories making around the ever-busy world of sport this evening. And in the show this evening we shall do a review of some NPFL matches that took place yesterday, not also forgetting the UEFA Champions League. This and many more is going to be yours shortly after this timeout.
From lines across the ocean to the land be focused on the fact today.
from that short break, you're still on to Atlantic Television Network Sport Extraordinary. Joining me on today's edition of the show is my co-host, is Ekpo Temple. Temple, good evening and welcome to the show.
Mike, it's a delight to be here, and I'm sure that we're very ready, and our viewers too, to talk about sports, a lot of transfer, and there's always a delightful moment, and a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to be here, but let's kick started right now from the world of cricket. As Nigeria's male senior cricket team, the Yellow Greens, have booked a place in the final series of the 2026 ICC T20 World Cup qualifiers with one game to spare, as Steve Tikolo's men sealed their spots in the final phase of the qualifiers after beating Sierra Leone by 29 runs for their fourth straight wins in the African Sub-Regional Qualifier C in Abuja yesterday. The Yellow Greens were also joined by Botswana, who also secured a second automatic qualifying spot from the group after beating Eswatini by 9 wickets. The two teams now join Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Kenya, and the two African representatives at the last T20 World Cup, Namibia and Uganda, who are drawn by to the regional final. Despite two spots already decided in Abuja, the closing matches will see all 6 countries dwelling on the closing day of the sub-regional qualifiers tournament. Tempo, the Yellow-Green, doing perfectly well, having picked one of the tickets for the T20 World Cup out there.
Yeah, it's lovely to get to. I really need to appreciate the effort of Steve Tikolo, the coach of our senior cricket team. We are the hosts of this competition, and it behoves on us to, to pull the weight. Now we have in our cricket confederation in Africa, we have 4 qualifiers, 4 different qualifiers. One from, in fact, in West Africa alone, we have like 2. Just like we have Wafu A and B. And so Nigeria is segmented, the 2 qualifiers in each of these zones. And so Africa is demarcated into 4 zones. Yeah. So we need to have 4, 2, 2, that is 8 qualifiers who will now qualify automatically for the African competition. And then from there, we'll now get maybe 2 that will now qualify for the World Cup or thereabout, depending on the quota given to Africa. So it's good that because we are the host. And why are we the host? We are the hosting because over time, we've seen what Uyi Apata and his team they've been able to put up. And we've had a lot of things have changed in cricket in recent time. We are now competing with the powerhouses like Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Uganda, South Africa, in Africa, and that's quite interesting. Before now, Nigeria is not reckoned with in cases in issue of cricket, but today, not just cricket, but T20I, which is a big cricket competition. In fact, the Cricket World Cup. And so even if we may not get to the level of Sri Lanka, India, England, Bangladesh, but we are building, and that's very important. And so I think that is lovely. And we are even, in fact, we are even showing strength. I'm not thinking that I am not bothered about what happened at the next stage, but at least qualifying to be among the big boys in Africa elevates me so much. So when you talk about cricket, Nigeria now is a force to reckon with in Africa. And it's a continuation of what we have seen in the last 4 years. Cricket is one of the oldest sports in Nigeria. Unfortunately, over the decades, it was nowhere to be found until Uyi Apata came in, and that is a square peg in a square hole, and he has changed the narrative. So I think that getting a coach in Steve Tikolo, also boasting the effort of the federation in terms of cricket activity, and that's why we need to also have infrastructure. If we had the best managed affairs, the best human resources, and we don't have the infrastructure, I don't think we'll be hosting this by now. So the cricket over in the motion of has also given us the opportunity to also host. In fact, we have one of the best in West Africa. We have one of the best, and we are leveraging on that to showcase these competitions. And I think that is a good one. Let's hope that I think the game is today. Let's hope that we can also win. We qualified with 1 game to spare, win that one, and boasting our image. It's about the image of cricket in Nigeria and in Africa. And I'm happy that I was qualified to at least to the final round of the qualifiers, hoping that if we do very well, we can also compete with the big names and maybe pick one of the tickets to represent Africa at the T20I in 2026. And so it's still a long march, but then I'm very hopeful that the spirit is still there for the guys to do the needful.
Of course, the spirit is still there for the guys to do. I think we are doing pretty well. Likes of Yuya Pata, Steve Tikola, the M's of affair. You need to have the square peg, of course, in the round hole to ensure that you get a positive result out there. Very impressive display from the yellow-green, and we urge them to continue to blaze on. But away from that, let's talk some boxing this evening on the show, as the International Boxing Federation has ordered Congolese heavyweight Martin Bakole to face Nigerian's Efe Ajagba for the right to become the mandatory challenger for its heavyweight title. The IBF decision came as a result of Agil Kabayel and Zelezang withdrawal from the fight against Bakole, paving the way for Ajagba to step in. Ranked number 4 in the IBF standing, Bakole has been on a dominant run, with his most recent victory coming up against Jared Anderson in August. The winner of the bout will secure the position as the mandatory challenger for the IBF heavyweight bout currently held by Daniel Dubois. Simple, this is another very big opportunity for Efe Ajagba to stake a claim out there and make Nigeria proud once more, because this opportunity has been knocking on his door. Now he's going to face Bankole. According to the Boxing Council of the World, as it is right now, it's a mandatory fight before they stand a chance of coming up against Daniel Dubois, who is the present holder of the IBF. Do you think that Efe Ajagba, looking at his prowess so far, the rise, do you think that he stand a chance against the number 4? Because for him, he's seated as number 7 as it is right now.
Yeah, for Martin Bakole, that Congolese is a very strong boxer. For you to be competing in this weight category, it tells you how close, the big guys, you're among the big guys already. I think that if you look at the way he has gone about his activities, you know that he's a big guy. He has fought for 21. He has gotten 21 wins. He has lost just one of those times. He had 16 knockouts. That is a guy who, in his 21 bout, he has had 16 knockouts. It's good as compared to the 14 of Efe Ajagba. So he must be at his best. And don't forget that if you are fighting a mandatory challenger to fighting the boys, you must be at your best, because and these are the kind of tests that you need. The good thing about it is that they are all Africans, they are black, and so it's going to be an intense fight. Bakole is looking advantageous based on statistics and the fight. You think that he should be, but Ajagba can take his opportunity in this particular one. What matters is seizing the opportunity that comes your way. And this is, he has also been a brother to Mabula, the cruiserweight, former cruiserweight champion some time ago, and so he comes from a lineage of fighters. And if you're going to fight a boxer like this, he's very deadly, on the boxing ring. He needs to be Ajagba needs to be at his best if he must get something from Bakole, because Bakole is a renowned fighter, and this is an opportunity for him to move one step, to that glorious level in the heavyweights. And so, if he must achieve that, then Ajagba and him, one of them must go down.
Of course, one of them must go down if he must attain the high heights of making himself very popular in the world of boxing out there. But with a unification bout against the winner of Alexander Usyk at Tyson Fury, a rematch potentially on the horizon, Efe Ajagba could possibly just put himself in a very poor position. Now, it's been a while that we saw any Nigerian heavyweight boxer or any boxer, whether in the middleweight or featherweight or heavyweight division, make a very strong statement in terms of world boxing. I think the last we saw was Samuel Peter, but we have some big names that have done the country proud, like Bash Ali, Terry Ray. These are people that have also made mark for Nigeria. Do you think that it is high time that we must also take our own destiny by our hand? Because as it is right now, if Efe Ajagba can knock down Bankole, then it's not a chance of facing up against Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, we've had a lot of big guys, Duncan Igeneware, Tiger Dick.
Yeah.
These are big names in the boxing world. And at the point when some of them, even before, Peter never had good fight. He had those 47 fights in his career. And he cannot be compared to the likes of Tiger Dick that fought 82 times. And then even Duncan, although Duncan had a very short spell in the boxing but he also had Isaac Ekpo, David Diffie-Abon. These are big names in Nigerian boxing, you know. And so, if you look at the activities of boxing in Nigeria, you just want to believe that it's just a matter of era. You know, Jabba is one man who is doing so well now because he has also not gotten the opportunity to be well promoted as compared to the likes of Anthony Joshua and some of these big guys. At the time of Samuel Peter, they had good promoters who also ring their bell. For Jabba is doing the right thing and going about it gradually. I love the fact that he's doing it quietly as compared to others. But one thing I know for sure is if you are signed into a big promoter like a Matchroom Boxing, where Anthony Joshua was signed in, I mean, you cannot be quiet. True. And that's the reason, that is different between what is achieved. The moment if he gets one against Bakole, and maybe gets to fight the likes of the boys, you know, you can maybe a better promoter. The big promoters might come in like Warren at the hand and big guys. So I think that it all depends for them taking their destiny in their top rank. That you know, house the likes of Tyson Fury and all that. I mean, they're looking for guys that will represent them. So the moment they know that you are consistent, you are a good fighter, they might just come for you. So Jabba is in between his destiny and you know, achieving something big. It all depends on how he goes about the fight against Pakole. But that aside, I also think that the Boxing Federation over the years, or let's say in the last few decades, have not been very intentional in raising boxers. Now, these are individual sports, and so sometimes it takes you to be promoted, well promoted, or well funded for you to exhibit that talent. So even if you are talented enough, that does not guarantee the fact that you go places, because promoters look for good boxers, train them, and then they need funds to drive you for you to go for bouts, for you to be enlisted into fighting. And it's only when you get to fight from Nigeria, Africa, that you continue to move on. So it's about your promoters, and that's why we've not had a lot of names in recent time. But we still have good boxers. Okay, the Commonwealth Games prove that we can have good boxers, even if some of our boxers were delisted from the Olympics. The Commonwealth shows that, okay, we still have good boxers, and that was because there was an intentional approach to open the camp for street boxers to come and showcase their talent. They used like 2 weeks, you know, to do those things. So it was fight all, and you saw boxers from go to Jegule, go to town. There are boxers, but if you don't give them the opportunity, it is a challenge. And then the scientific approach has not also been utilized. We fight with strength. In the Western world, they don't fight with strength. They fight with tactics. And that's all these things are rudiments. There must be a process. And I think that the Boxing Federation needs to also know this. So if you don't get to see all those boxers, you know, Nigerian being named, even Anthony Joshua, who is not bred by Nigerian, you know, heritage, I still feel that if we need to get to that level, we need to be very intentional. And I'm not surprised that we don't have Ejaba is even groomed by, not even in Nigeria, but the fact that he's from here makes it even more easier. But all we are saying is that catch them at the appropriate quarters. Give opportunities to the street guys. When we have professional boxers very soon. But this coming month, we're going to have a professional boxing in Nigeria, where the IBF guy will be here. So I mean, it just tells that we're not intentional about it. If we're intentional, that will be boxers that will. After all, we have boxing competition in Africa, so there are always bouts. But do we have the guys representing us at that level? Do we have those to promote them? So if you don't, that's the problem. So the part of the pain or the challenge that we've had, why we don't have those names anymore, is because we don't have funded promoters that will promote these guys. For you to get to that level, I mean, it comes with a lot. For Jabba, you see him today now having 120 bouts, you know, and the 14 knockout. It's not child's play. It takes years of fight, and if it does not have a promoter that promotes to that level, it becomes a challenge. So funding is a big problem in the boxing scene, but we have the talent.
Of course, we have the talent, but funding and putting the right people in position of authority is a key thing out there. We have talent, enormous talent. When you talk about it, no doubt we have them right here in the country. They just need the fertile ground for them to showcase their strength and skills. And I tell you, the future of boxing, we get to where we ought to be. But away from that, there are some NBA results, you know, that happened last night, and of course, we are here to dish out some of those results. We saw Charlotte Hornets being trashed at home by Miami Heat, 98-94. It ended in the favor of Miami Heat. Whereas Cleveland Cavaliers, surprisingly as well, lost at home to Atlanta Hawks, 135 to 124 in their favor. Indiana Pacers, 121, also lost at home to Portland Trail Blazer, 114. Orlando Magic, they were magical enough to defeat Chicago Bulls, 133 to 118. Philadelphia 76ers also, lost at home, surprisingly, to Bolton Celtic, who is also in form so far this season, 115 to 122. It ended in favor of Houston Rocket. Washington Wizards lost at home, more like a home loss. Last night in the NBA, they lost against Los Angeles Lakers, 96 to 126. It ended. Dallas Mavericks got the better of New York Knicks, 129 to 114. It ended. Memphis Grizzlies as well got the better of Detroit Pistons, 131 to 111. It ended. Minnesota Timberwolves also lost at their home ground, 104 to 115 against the Sacramento Kings. New Orleans Pelicans also lost at home to Toronto Raptors. They were actually raptured, 119 to 93. Tempo, the surprising result for me is Cleveland Cavaliers, because take a look at the form of Cleveland Cavaliers so far this season. Having played 19 games, they've won about 17 out of those 19, lost only 2. They have a record of equaling teams like Los Angeles Lakers, Boston Celtics, of playing 15 games in a row without losing, winning all. Were you surprised that they actually lost this very well?
No, I'm not. They lost at home, which makes it even more painful, okay? But it's the NBA. The NBA is no respecter of home and away. It doesn't work that way in the NBA. But then you were thinking that Atlanta Hawks, of all teams, is not the team that gets to, okay, I think that the team that they lost to, I'm trying to look at the team that they lost to, because they're going to play Atlanta Hawks next in their... In fact, as a matter of fact,
Cavaliers lost to Atlanta Hawks,
and they're going to play them in the NBA Cup that's starting tomorrow. Yeah. So it's more like a reverse fixture. That game ended 124-135 in favor of Atlanta Hawks, and if you look at Hawks, they have won just 8 games this season, lost 11. So you wonder the dynamics at which they won against Cleveland Cavaliers. But if you follow the start of that encounter, you just know that a lot transpired in that game. They played 35-35 in the first quarter, and then the change was in the third quarter when they scored 37. Same with the fourth quarter, they had 37 in that particular one, and they posted maximum points. So when you look at the start of that game, it tells you all going. Cleveland Cavaliers did so well. Mitchell scored 30 points in that encounter with 4 rebounds and 7 assists. But that was not enough because the guys were on the march. It was a very tight encounter. It looks easier when you see the result. But Cleveland truly did not want to lose that game. But I just see that Atlanta Hawks had a very vigilant spirit. We never had anybody score 30 in that particular one. But we had 4-5 players who scored 22, the double figures in that encounter. We saw Jay Johnson score 22 points. We saw T. Young score 20 points. We saw the Hunter scored 26 points in that particular one, and then 5 rebounds. Daniel scored 12 points with 10 rebounds. So all these put together made them very fantastic. The truth of the matter is that the boys may not be known, but Atlanta Hawks had players who came with their mind, who played their mind out in that particular one. And then they also make use of that free throws, which also ensure that they got that particular win, especially in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter. And that was where the magic came from. Don't also forget that if you are playing a team at home, get your first quarter first. And unfortunately, they were unable to win that particular game. If not for the brilliance of some of the players, maybe that game would have gone into overtime. But somehow, the Atlanta Hawks knew what they did, held them in the first quarter. They lost in the second quarter, but they came back in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, and that was where the magic. If you look at the point margin, yes, very slim, but they showed intent. 124-135. That tells you the difference in that encounter.
The difference in that account, and of course, despite the loss, they are still maintaining the Western Conference out there with Boston Celtic also coming very close to them, sitting on the second position. We also have Orlando Magic and also New York Knicks. Miami Heat not also doing pretty bad in the Western Conference as well. So the next game is about Los Angeles Lakers. It looks as though they have not actually picked up from what we are seeing from their game so far. Though they lost their game, but it looks as though something is not, right with LA Lakers this season.
LA Lakers are in the top 6 of the Western Conference.
Yeah, but this is not how we expected them to blaze on, especially for the big name out there who also, was making a very big statement before the season.
Yeah, but if you follow the Lakers, you know that last season they even struggled. Okay, I know that Lakers, Golden State Warriors struggled so well last season. Yes, they had Anthony and a certain LeBron who pulls them out of the magic, but it's not enough. They have good players, okay, but they are age. Those players are age. Don't even forget that before Westbrook left that side, last season we were talking about how aged the players are, and I've not seen, apart from the draft of getting Bronny, I've not seen the new guys that have been fixed that will get the magic for them as compared to the likes of the young age of Denver Nuggets and some of the game. Go and check out what is happening in Oklahoma City Thunders. Check out what is happening in Houston Rockets. These are teams in the same Western Conference. And check out the age limit of these players. At some point, the truth of the matter is that LeBron cannot show that reporting of Los Angeles. Yes, they've been very fantastic. I'm even surprised that they are in the top 6. But I also feel that at some point that age factor just naturally comes in. And yes, Anthony has been very fantastic, but then he is not a forward. You need those good guys who can get the best from games and then cause the magic. So if certain players are not on board, it becomes a very big challenge. But like I said, we'll keep our finger crossed and see how far. One thing I know for sure is maybe after the NBA Cup, let's see how they can go first, because the NBA Cup starts tomorrow. Maybe after the NBA Cup, we'll see how far they can readjust themselves and then move on. But then you can also take the fact that we've seen a lot of changes. Memphis Grizzlies are not doing badly. Houston Rockets and then Oklahoma City Thunders. These are teams ordinarily they should be at the lower echelon of the Western Conference. But this time we've seen that change in dynamics, and sometimes it is just difficult to really fight out. But I still appreciate the effort of Los Angeles Lakers.
Still appreciate the effort of Los Angeles Lakers. They are not doing bad at all, seated in the 6th position, but expected to blaze on right from the get-go. Of course, many games still yet to come. 82 games in all, about 20 or 19 played so far, so you may want to say early call to make on who is going to reign supreme at the end of the season. But at this juncture, we are going to take a quick break. When we are back, we'll head straight to the second part of the show, where we'll bring you all the stories that you need to hear in the world of football. Keep it locked here on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back in a jiffy. Welcome back from that short break. Let's dive straight to the world of football this evening, but starting from the home scene, talking about the NNL. Godswill Akpabio United FC has been officially unveiled, making a major milestone for the newly established club as they prepare to compete in the Nigerian National League 2024-2025 season. The club, owned by the Nigerian Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has already signaled its ambitious intention for the promotion of the Nigerian Premier Football League with the recruitment of a blend of experienced players and young talent hungry for success. The unveiling event witnessed the formal presentation of the team, the new coaching staff of players, management officials, and other personnel. Leading the coaching team is former Nigerian international and seasoned coach Patrick Udo, who has been tasked with guiding the team to greater heights in the NNL.
Before you know it, they will get themselves getting to play in the Nigerian Premier Football League, and that's the worry for me. it is lovely to get to float clubs, okay, but I would have expected that the NFF go through policies, but who says you pursue those policies or those bureaucratic processes when you are at the helm of affairs, when you have your funds to do the needful for you? For me, before now, the NNL should have known the teams that have already qualified. So I'm wondering how this is coming.
He lost to Al-Masry of Egypt, 2 goals to nothing. It ended. Were you expecting at least to get at least a point away from home in that very one?
Yeah, I expect them to go all out and play good football, okay, but it looks like that was not what we saw after all. And they play big teams, but we're losing to small teams. It's unfortunate, but I think that it is a wake-up call. First off, we need to have a new coach. I don't know what the NFF are doing, but we can continue this way because let's go back and look at the drawing boards. Okay, what have we not done right? Where are we headed to? You can't have an interim. Nigeria is having an interim for this long. Even the 3 Lions of England, they had an interim for a short time and they made change. That's how a well-focused and direction driven team should do. And I think that Nigeria is not far from. We need to do the right thing. Let's leave politics and get the right person to man the affairs of our national team, and let's see how far it goes.
Let's see how far it goes when we get the right person to man the affairs of the Super Eagles. But you just talked about having a capable coach. And we hear in the last 24 hours that the Englishman talking about Jonathan Hills has also indicated his interest to become the Super Eagles head coach. Do you think that we should go for him? Because this delay, the wait for the NFF to appoint a substantive coach, I think is getting out of hand, because don't forget, we're in a very precarious situation in terms of the World Cup qualifying games, and we need a stable coach on a permanent basis to be able to tinker the Super Eagles. Do you think that NFF is doing us good with this delay?
It's not our fault that they're delaying. It's not our fault. But they will take responsibility for whatever comes out of that delay. I agree that appointing a coach takes a lot of, but they have a technical committee. And the work of the technical committee is to scout coaches, negotiate with them, do findings, do a background check on the coaches, and then, recommend as such to the NFF, who makes the final decision on whether to go with the coach based on the wage allowance and everything that comes with taking care of the welfare of the coach. But unfortunately, Eguavoen would have been a good, maybe he would have made a claim for himself. But I mean, with the kind of result that he has thrown out in recent time, I don't think that Nigerians are okay. This is his third missionary journey, and obviously the pressure now is on the NFF to change Eguavoen. He is the head of the technical committee, and a lot of persons are contented if he stays there. The last time we went that sort of hope. But I think that what can be good for Real Madrid right now is win all your games and then pray that some of the big teams also loses so that you can have a place in the playoffs. But for me, I am not bothered. Let's see to the end of the. For me, teams who are winning should enjoy the best of the moment in the Swiss league and of course in the new pattern. Some teams will struggle. For Real Madrid, they have done so well for themselves and win it this time around too. They won't bother too much because they have a lot. The next time now, after now, they will play in the Club World Cup, which will also define their moment in the league and both in Champions League. So for me, I'm not really bothered about what is happening right now, injury concern and all that. So I'm sure that yesterday they got it all wrong. Even Carlo Ancelotti had to admit that yes, Liverpool were a better side as compared to them.
Liverpool were indeed a better side compared to them. But you talked about Liverpool. And Slot, the man with the magic finger, he has been doing very well since he came into England. He's actually topping the Champions League standing as it is. Then again, topping in the English Premier League. Is this the new sheriff in town?
Yeah, he's a new sheriff and he's testing the waters. And he has his own secret formulas that seems to be working out for him. But believe you me, as time goes on, the good thing about what he's coming in is the team he left and came in averagely are just like maybe just below Liverpool a little. Liverpool they have been cooked for years.
True.
An argument, arguably, you think that Jurgen Klopp did a good job competing a season basis with the likes of Manchester City should groom your players. So the moment you are dragged out from the academy, you know, you just suit in to the style of Liverpool. They don't get the big names, but they have a team. And that was what he has built. And from where and Slot was coming from,